One of the best things I did in my life was get into pro wrestling and eventually go to my first pro wrestling show. Now, I only did that a year and a half ago. First show I ever watched was WrestleMania 39. First show that me and my fiance ever attended was SummerSlam 2023 in Detroit. And you guys have been a massive part of this growth and learning about wrestling, getting into wrestling. So something I've wanted to do is also pass it on to someone else who hasn't actually gotten to watch wrestling or gotten into it the way that I have. So for Christmas, I told my mom that I was going to take her to her first ever pro wrestling show. And I decided to document the entire experience. When I found out the WWE was concluding their holiday tour here in Detroit, I knew I had to jump on the opportunity, take my mom to a show, and just show her what this is all about. Now, for context, my mom has not watched pro wrestling pretty much at all in her life. She has a vague memory of maybe some pro wrestling when she was a kid, kind of similar to how I have a vague memory of knowing about its existence but not actually watching when I was a kid. And the only other exposure that she has to pro wrestling is watching my YouTube videos. Yes, she watches my YouTube videos. She joins in on my Twitch stream. She joins in on the YouTube stream sometimes. She doesn't really know what's going on, but she's an extremely supportive mother. So she kind of picks up a little bit of context clues here and there, but well, I'll let her tell you. We'll get to that. I asked her a few questions before we actually went to the show. Now, the first thing I wanted to ask her was, what does she think, as someone who does not watch and did not watch as a kid and just only has a vague memory of it, what is the first thing you think of when you hear the phrase professional wrestling?
I think of Hulk Hogan back in the day and Brock Lesnar. I loved Brock Lesnar.
I would also like to mention my mom has not kept up with any recent news about any of the wrestlers that she has mentioned in this video.
I thought he was very handsome. So that's what I thought. And I just loved watching him.
Now, my first thought when I heard this was, okay, Hulk Hogan would have been like the John Cena for me, where I knew who John Cena was. I knew he was a wrestler all through high school, but I didn't watch it. He was just enough of a household name, and I could see why that would be an attachment for her to remember Hulk Hogan. Now, when it comes to Brock Lesnar, I'm a little surprised because I don't know if he was a household name as a pro wrestler, but I do know that both her and my dad and myself, I was aware of Brock Lesnar for the same reason. It was from watching MMA or from watching UFC. And I know for a fact that she had seen him a ton when watching UFC that we would watch from time to time when I was growing up. So there is a part of me that wonders if she was connecting that dot, but she wasn't able to name any other wrestlers, at least not off the top of her head. So you have the household name in Hulk Hogan and Brock Lesnar, who I know she would remember from UFC. Do you feel like you've learned anything from watching my YouTube videos? Like, what have you picked up on going into this?
It kind of brings me back to the days that I used to watch it, and you're kind of like opening up a whole new category here for me to watch, and all these new people and everybody, and it's so exciting. You know, it's like something new, and just because I'm watching it because you're opening it up to me, you know.
Now, I did confirm with her that she only remembered seeing some wrestling when she was a full-fledged kid. I didn't want to dive too far down that road. I wasn't gonna, try to pick certain events and age her in the video or anything like that. But it sounds like any memory she was having of like Hulk Hogan or just pro wrestling in general was from a very young age. What's your expectation of what you're going to see today?
Chairs, tables, slamming. I don't remember. We didn't have that back then. I don't remember it if they did. I really don't. I don't think it was. I think it was just more than one person and tapping in, getting another person in there, and it wasn't. I don't think it had anything like the tables and stuff. And the women, it wasn't like women like it is now. It's way better with the women and stuff.
What do you remember about the women back then?
I don't remember any of them.
You never seen any of them at all?
No. That's what I'm saying. That's why it kind of cool how it's expanding.
Now, she mentioned the women completely unprompted, by the way, and I thought that was interesting, that I haven't spoken with her about women's wrestling at all. So I don't know if maybe she caught something that I had said in a previous video, perhaps, but I really thought it was interesting that even someone who didn't really watch pretty much their whole life and just had a vague childhood memory of some wrestling going on, that even that person recognized, yeah, the women weren't really used significantly back then. Is there anything you can think of in particular that you might be looking forward to seeing today?
Yeah, probably like when they stand up in the corner of the ring and they jump off there and they jump on the guy, stuff like that. You know, stuff that's unique.
Are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. I am so excited.
You ready, Tally?
I'm ready. Hi.
Yahoo!
Oh yeah, Tally came with us, obviously. If it seems like my mom's being performative at all, she is. When she found out she was going to be on camera a little bit, she got a little bit nervous and she wanted to do a good job. So go down to the comments and let her know she did a good job. I'm almost positive she will see it, so be nice. Really quick, I want to say thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now, if you spend as much time online as me, there's a real chance that your data has been exposed in the last year by careless companies. Worst of all, just a few months ago, National Public Data announced that they had suffered a major breach, potentially exposing over 2.9 billion records that are used for background checks. That includes your name, address, your birthday, phone number, even your social security number. And hackers have already made this sensitive information freely available, which means if you're not protecting yourself, you're more vulnerable than ever. That's why I use today's sponsor, Aura. Aura monitors your personal info like your social security number across billions of data points, including the dark web, and sends real-time alerts for potential threats. They also provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance if the worst were to happen. And on top of that, Aura offers tools like a VPN for secure browsing, a password manager, and even helps you opt out of data brokers selling your info. Don't leave yourself exposed. Click the link in the description or visit aura.com/Deporticus to get a 2-week free trial and find out right now if your personal data has already been compromised. Thanks again to Aura for sponsoring. Now back to the video. So the last thing we wanted to do before we actually walked in, I wanted to give her some idea of a way she could participate in the crowd. And from what I was told, and we're going to talk about this in a second here, but according to the card that was put out, Jey Uso is expected to be there. So we wanted my mom to have an idea of the whole yeet procedure, and Cody Rhodes was expected to be there. So we wanted her to understand the whoa procedure, just so she could be a part of the moment and not miss it.
Sorry? You start up and then you heat.
Yeet. Oh, I bent my knee. Sorry. Ready? I'll do it again.
Okay.
Yeet.
She needs to know how to whoa, too.
Then you go, whoa.
Try it.
Wow. What?
That's perfect.
That's exactly what she did.
It's perfect. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
And after a stunning rehearsal, we were going to eventually find out that when they say card subject to change, it means card subject to being mutilated and completely swapped around without any warning, which I'm not complaining. It's just I have never seen a show change as much as that one was compared to the advertised card. I should also mention this show took place on Monday night, and it took place at the same time as Monday Night Raw. So anybody who was needed for Raw was not going to make it to this show. So when I checked my phone right before the show started and saw Jey Uso in an opening segment, and he was supposed to also be at our show, I was a little bummed that she wasn't going to get to yeet. So we make our way into the building, and my mom has also never been to Little Caesars Arena before. She'd been to the previous Red Wings Arena, Joe Louis Arena, but that got tore down years ago. So this is her first time being in a new, modern, big arena. So I told her walk around, take a look around, and I told her I was going to record a little bit of her walking around, a little bit of B-roll, and her and Tally decided to overact for that a little bit, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, just I'm sure they were both very interested at whatever they were pointing at and looking at. It's fine. While we were walking around, my mom spotted a t-shirt that she wanted to let me know about. And I'll be honest, I had to get her to, it took a lot of tries to get her to say it again on camera.
I saw this guy, he had a sign, and it said, grab his D, star, 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 and it said, twist his D, star, star, star. It might have been the opposite.
There's not much else to add there. I just thought that was really funny. So we make our way to our seats, and I feel like I got pretty solid seats for a first-time viewing. We didn't want to get too close where you couldn't see anything. I didn't want to be up in the nosebleeds where she also couldn't see anything. And the WWE does a pretty good job of kind of making you feel like you're at a big show. Like the whole pre-show, the sounds, it's super loud, the lighting. I caught my mom looking around a lot, which doesn't sound like much, and I didn't get it all on camera because they get pretty strict about recording during these kinds of shows, so I just tried to get the little snippets that I could. But it's hard to explain it, but seeing my mom kind of look around at the different aspects of an arena she'd never been to, seeing the cool graphics pop up on the Tron, or seeing the wrestlers do their entrance, and just seeing her kind of focus on the little things that I was focusing on when I was first starting to watch, it was cool to see. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into super big detail on every single match, but the first match, they did bring out the Motor City Machine Guns. the local talent. Since they're from Detroit, they did get a pretty good pop. My mom had not heard of them, but I thought it was pretty cool that when she'd seen their logo pop up, and I guess she kind of felt the crowd getting excited, she got kind of excited too. And that was actually the only person during the show that she said that she wanted me to get her a t-shirt of. So I still have that on my to-do list. I need to get her a Motor City Machine Gun shirt, and she'll have her first wrestling shirt. So that'll be cool. So this was my first opportunity to explain to my mom the difference between a face and a heel. And don't worry, I wasn't trying to educate her throughout the show. I wanted her to just kind of sit back and enjoy it, but I wanted to give her an idea of like, hey, these are the guys that you're supposed to boo, and these are the guys that we're supposed to cheer for. What I did not anticipate was the first heels to walk out to be Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which, fun fact, that means the first WWE match that my mom truly watched all the way through, and my first WWE match watching all the way through, both featured Austin Theory. However, we had very different reactions, because when I told her that we were supposed to boo this man, she looked at me and said, I don't know, he's kind of hot. To which I had no choice but to say, fair. But I did get her to boo when she was supposed to boo, but I think she ended up liking Austin Theory. The next match featured the first women that she was going to see featured, and it was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Bianca Belair and Naomi. And I was excited to see my mom see these women. I knew these were going to be really good performers, and it was going to be a fun match. Unfortunately, my mother also got her first taste of people chanting or saying disgusting things about women specifically, or larger women specifically, just things that you would really hope people would have more class than to be screaming, especially in public, but at all, really. It's even more unfortunate that that yelling was coming from a small child. And yeah, unfortunately, I have some of that on tape. No, I'm not going to play it here, but it's just a bummer that I have some footage of my mom watching her first women's match, and you can hear some things that frankly, it sucks that she had to hear. But there's no such thing as terrible kids, only terrible parents. So I guess there were some terrible parents sitting behind us. But as expected, the women put on a phenomenal match. My mom enjoyed it, and so far the show was going really well, and it really felt like my mom was kind of taking to the performance aspect of it. Now, there's no promos really, other than a little bit of chatter toward the crowd, a little bit of interaction with the crowd. There's not really like stories going on at a house show. So she was getting mostly just the in-ring entertainment aspect. And from what I could tell, she was enjoying it. She was reacting at moments that you would hope somebody would react. She was clapping when she was supposed to. Even got a couple of moments where she kind of winced at something. So it was cool to see her getting immersed in it. A little bit later, she got to see a street fight, a Detroit street fight, which was originally, according to the card, it was supposed to be the Usos versus like Solo and Jacob Fatu, which if you were told you were going to see the Usos versus Solo and Fatu in a street fight at your house show, you'd be really pumped. And unfortunately, it seems like Jay was needed for Monday Night Raw. So it changed to Jimmy versus Solo in just a regular match, and the street fight got moved to Michin, who seems like she's always finding herself in a street fight, against Nia Jax. So this was my mom's first opportunity to see some like kendo stick usage, some chair shots, the table spots. We were a little bummed at first because they didn't actually hit the table spot during the match, and I think it's because it was technically for the women's title, and they're not going to have Nia lose the title there. So she wins the match, but then Michin puts Nia through the table in the aftermath of the match, which for the sake of just seeing a table spot for the first time in person, it gets the job done. Nia did say something, unexpected when she came out. She pulled out a microphone and said, I'm not going to say it because I refuse to be clipped saying it, but I'll find the clip.
I like that sign. I suck and I swallow.
To which my mother said, oh, yeah, we're from the Midwest. Next up is something you don't get at a typical Raw or SmackDown show. They actually do an intermission at these house shows where you can get up, stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, ideally for them, buy merch or whatever. And the guys in front of us actually went and they bought a full-on title, like a world heavyweight title, one of those replica belts. And my mom, being as social as she is, she just straight up asked, basically, can I see your title? And the guys were super nice about it. And as a result, we did get to have a photo with my mom having the title over her shoulder. So if you happen to be either of those guys that were sitting in front of us that night, shout out to you guys. That did make her night. She talked about it on the way home. That was really cool of you. After that, we saw Bayley take on Tiffany Stratton, which Bayley being one of my absolute favorites, and Tiffany Stratton being someone who I'm also very fond of. But my mom actually took a pretty big liking to Tiffany Stratton. I'll let her speak for herself in the post-event interview, but it turned out during the show, out of everybody that she had seen, Tiffany Stratton was someone that really stood out to her. I'm not 100% sure if it was just from the moves or if she liked her look or whatever, but that was the one that she remembered her name. She remembered it was Tiffy. She remembered Tiffy time. And I think it's really cool to know that my mom went to the show and actually did pick up on, because there's a lot, especially when you're not watching on TV, it can be tough to pick up on the names of people. It can be tough to pick up those little details because they don't always make it clear. Sometimes if you don't know what you're looking at, you cannot really catch what it says on the Tron, especially if it's in like a crazy font or logo or something. And she picked up on the Tiffy time thing, and she liked that. After that, we got Jimmy Uso taking on Solo Sikoa, which the match was very fine. It had some funny moments, a ref kicking out Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. My mom did get to yeet once because people wanted Jimmy to do it. So I hope Jimmy's cool with that. Everybody just kind of chants yeet at him as if he was Jay. But he played into it and he gave everybody a bit of a yeet. Then the main event came around, which was going to be a steel cage match between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes for, I guess, each of their titles, because Kevin is still carrying around the Winged Eagle title, claiming that he is the rightful champion. So that's cool that they're still doing that even at house shows. And she was a big fan of the whole, like, the pageantry of it. She seemed to like it when the cage, they did it like they do at pay-per-views and PLEs. Ooh. Where the cage gets lowered down really slow with the music and the lights flash on it. That was pretty cool. Oh, and before I forget, my mom did get to do the whoa for Cody Rhodes. We helped her time it and everything, and that was a funny, memorable part that she talked about on the way home as well. So I'm glad we did that. We also had to explain to her the rules that you can win like a normal match, but trying to escape is also a way to win, which it's a good idea we did, because it ended up being like a photo finish where Cody was jumping out the side and Kevin was racing to like get out the door, and it was a really close finish. When the show ended, we managed to get a few photos. We kind of just sat there to take it in a little bit, watch people leave, and just see the cleanup crew do what they do. It's always fun. If you ever go to a show and you're not in a rush to leave, stick around a little bit and just watch how quickly these guys, this crew just cleans up they clean up everything. They take down the mat and they take down the ring and everything. It seems like it's like a pit crew. It's pretty cool to see. Now, I wanted to make sure that I asked my mom how she felt about the show as soon as possible afterwards. I wanted to get just the raw feeling, the raw take of just how she felt coming out of her first wrestling show.
All right, the show just ended. What were your thoughts?
Oh, I loved it. All the women were great. They were beautiful.
You said the women were?
The women, I loved them.
We see lots of it.
Oh, yeah.
Were there any matches that stood out to you?
Yeah, kind of like the Tiffany and
Bailey?
yeah, of course.
The Tiffy time?
You liked
Yeah.
it. You liked her outfit. You said you really liked the pink. That
Well, I like the pink. I kind of wish she would have won. So I think I'm gonna dress up like her next time we go. Oh no.
Dude, how cool is that? Like, I didn't prompt her or anything on the women or anything. I thought it was really cool that she took so much away from the women's performance. I don't know if it was like I said before, the pageantry of it all, the presentation, the dancing, I could see that would be something that somebody would remember, but I thought that was really cool that taking someone to their first show and, I didn't prep her on any answers or anything. I just wanted to get the raw takes from it. And the fact that her first thought was that she really loved the women's performance and that she remembered Tiffy specifically, I just thought that was really cool. And I think that shows that, the women have been given a spotlight now. And it feels like back then, for her to even know that the women weren't being utilized, even as a kid when she wasn't really watching, she just knew that probably, I'm guessing, whatever advertisements or whatever she had seen was always men. I just think that's really cool.
What'd you think of the one with the table and the trash cans and
I was surprised. The table was nice.
the steel cage match?
Steel cage match, jumping over the top.
Oh, what did you say when Cody was coming out? Who did you ask was coming out?
Oh, I thought it was John Cena.
You thought Cody Rhodes was who?
John Cena.
Very close. Honestly, very close. Do you think you'd ever go again?
Oh, by myself.
You go by. You said you go by yourself?
I went ahead and I asked her a couple more questions when we got back to the car, mostly because I wasn't sure how the sound was going to be from me interviewing her still in the arena. So I got a little bit more from her.
What did you think?
It was amazing. It was so exciting. All the people were just cheering, the colors, the lights. It was amazing.
Was there anything you didn't care for? Besides the kids behind us.
No, I loved it. I loved everything. Everything. It was great.
Is there something that you think you're going to remember?
I could see perfect.
See-
Yeah, Tiffany.
Tiffany Stratton?
Yeah.
Wore all the pink, the Tiffy time.
I need that outfit.
You want the Tiffy time?
Tiffy time
So,
outfit.
so we got to get a Tiffy time T-shirt for
That's
you.
me.
Is there a match that stood out to you? Is something that you're
I
going to
think
remember?
I like the women's matches the best. They were very exciting, and they were very good. I was really surprised. I was amazed that they were the breaking of the table. I mean, I don't know how they're very, very good actors.
It's okay. Everyone
Oh.
watching this knows. It's
Okay.
okay. It's okay.
But it's exhausting, and my back hurt when they got hit with the board or whatever. Oh my God, I could feel it. Oh.
How did it compare to whatever your expectations were?
I didn't think it was going to be as loud, as many lights.
Was it a little too loud?
Oh no.
Any final words?
No. See you next time.
And then we drove home and she talked about it pretty much the whole 30-40 minute drive home. Not only did I never expect that I would be getting into this myself and going to as many shows as I have, I definitely didn't expect that I was going to get to share this with my mom. I mean, my mom watches most of my videos. She's in most of my streams. So she's been very supportive of this whole thing, and it was cool that I got to actually include her on it and get to take her to it. So if there's anyone in your life that you're hoping to expose to, wrestling, or even if it's not wrestling, something that you're really passionate about and maybe it would be their first experience, I can tell you right now, it was really satisfying. It was really cool to share that with someone for the first time. Knowing that she had a good time and getting to answer her questions on the way home, I kind of got a bit of a feeling of what you guys must have been getting when I was first making these YouTube videos and I had a million questions that, looking back, were kind of silly, but you guys were really, really helpful and anxious to take part in me and Tally learning. So it was kind of cool to be on the other end of that for a minute. I want to do more videos just like this, so please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I welcome you to join the Discord. You can be a fan of any wrestling show you want there, and we do chat-alongs, watch-alongs to all types of different shows, to different promotions. I promise you won't regret it. The community has been so wholesome and so helpful this entire time we've been getting into wrestling. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Thank you so much to all the patrons that are flying up the screen. I will see you all in the next video.